All right, so the minutes came out and it was exactly what we thought. Interest rates will continue to go higher. That's what we're going to be getting into it. So let's get right into the article today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is David Ruff. I operate in Canada, but we are intrinsically linked to the United States, and the United States go first. They report their interest rate first, they report their interest hikes first, and their minutes first. Canada, like 92% of the time, follows exactly what the US does, albeit sometimes a little bit different. They might raise 0.75%, we might raise 1%, but we're always tied at the hip. That's how it goes. So let's look into these minutes because the minutes that came out in the US give us guidance even for here in Canada. Plus, we are sitting slap bang next to the reserve currency holder right now. So it's worth it for us to take a look. Let's jump straight into this article, shall we? Right now, this article is saying the Fed sees interest rates will be hiking continually. Fed sees interest rates continuing until inflation eases substantially, minutes show. Let's get straight into this article because it has some points in it I think are very worth covering. So it says the Federal Reserve officials at their July meeting indicated they would likely not consider pulling back on interest rate hikes until inflation came down substantially, according to the minutes from the session. That is such an important point when they say that, okay? They will likely, they never want to pigeonhole them, corner themselves, right? They're not going to pigeonhole around it. They're going to be quite direct, but you kind of have to read through the words. They likely, quote unquote, right, would not consider pulling back on interest rates until inflation came down substantially. How far does it have to come down? During the meeting in which the central bank approved a 0.75% increase hike, policymakers expressed resolve to bring down inflation that is running well above the Fed's desired 2% level. Are you reading through this the same way I am? They will not consider pulling back rates until they get to their desired 2% level. I mean, this is what I've been saying since last Christmas. This is what I was saying in the spring. This is what I've been saying every rate hike. Every time we go live, every time we ask questions, every time we talk to a client, the answer is always the same. They came out back then and said, we will raise rates until we get to 2%. Until we get to 2%. So, David, what will you think the next rate raise will be? Will it be 0.75? Will it be 1? Will it be 1.25? I don't know. We are not crystal ball holders. I wish I knew. That's the $1 trillion question. But I do know it's going to keep going up and up and up until they get to the 2% target. So remember, if they injected tens of trillions of dollars into the market and created this overheated mess, this is the time that they got to suck all that money out. And they're going to do that by charging you more money on your car payments, charge more money on your home payments, charge more money on your credit cards, everything. They're going to be taking all that money back now. So, when you go and get a credit card, and your dad gives it to you, or I don't know, whatever, and you go and you just say, line up the cash register and charge everything. It's a great time, right? Everyone's rocking and rolling until the bill comes due. And when that bill comes due, it's going to hurt. So please remember this sentence. They would likely not consider pulling back on interest rates until inflation comes down substantially. Policymakers expressed resolve to bring down inflation that is running well above their 2% target. It's telling you what the target is. Okay, now there's one more part in here. This next paragraph, I really want you guys to pay attention to this. This is really, really important. This outlines everything. This paragraph, this outlines everything that they're saying. So right now, they noted that 2.25% to 2.5%, okay? That range for the federal funds rate is around what they would call neutral level. It's neither supportive nor restrictive on activity in the market. First of all, what a load of bollocks, right? Because we feel that's neither hampering the economy at all. Listen, ever since you started raising rates, the economy has been cratering. Okay, so you can't say that it's not hampering activity at all. People are going to be losing their jobs, companies going out because of this. So you have to kind of be able to read through this story time, right? So we feel that this rate is neutral. It's not supportive or restrictive, the article says. Some officials said a restrictive stance is likely and will be appropriate, indicating more interest rates to come. Okay. I just, I kind of like, I'm shaking inside when I read that, right? Because this is what we have been waiting for a decade, for those of us who've been preparing to buy real estate. But if we go on to the next paragraph, it says participants judged that moving to a restrictive stance of policy was required. I don't think that people are paying attention to this enough. I don't think that you're understanding what this is saying. The range, the interest rate that we are now, they find is fine. It shouldn't lower down economic activity at all. Come on. Of course it is. But they say that a restrictive stance could be more appropriate. What is restrictive? That means raising rates more. And some of the participants judged that moving to a restrictive stance of policy was required. Holy man, guys. I don't think that they could be much more clear. Okay, so let's go over to U.S. news. The Fed saw evidence of a slowing economy at its last meeting. That's what it said. I'm reading direct from the article, U.S. News. It says that the Federal Reserve officials saw that signs that the U.S. economy was weakening. Okay, so if we just look at the two statements, one said, we feel it's completely neutral. It's not going to affect the economy at all. But in their minutes, they're also saying the U.S. economy was weakening. So we have to have our little BS meters on and be able to figure out what the real truth is, because they're telling us all kinds of wackadoodle stuff. Remember that these guys are in marketing. They're going to market the crap out of it. Name me one government at one time in history ever that says there's a recession happening right now. They're always going to say, don't worry. It's going to be okay. Just don't stress about it. That's what they're going to tell you. So you have to be able to use our own brain to try to figure this out. So they see that the U.S. economy is weakening. The last meeting, but still called inflation unacceptably high. Okay, so you have two different things, but they have made their choice which one they're going to be using, right? Policymakers said that they expect the economy to expand in the second half of 2022. Oh, come on, guys. Honestly. So in one meeting minutes, they're telling me that the rates are at where they are, but we don't expect them to affect anything. We feel it's neutral. And then in another comment, they'll tell you that the economy is slowing down. They're seeing that. And then they tell you that we think that we will have to raise rates higher soon, but they still foresee growth in the future. Is your brain like going crazy? This is something that I learned many, many, many years ago, because I've had terrible people in my life. I've had weird family members. I've had terrible employees. I've had all kinds of things in my life. And here is, I find what comes down to, this is my epiphany. My brain always goes crazy when the words that people tell me are different than their actions. David, don't worry. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it tomorrow. Okay. And then it doesn't happen. David, don't worry. I just been a bad week. Next week, I'm going to start working on it. And then they don't do it. And I keep on, my soul wants to always believe that person and give them a break. But when we had our last employee, we had to let go. The guy told me he wanted to work. He's going to get to it next week for 4 months. Doesn't do anything. So, at the end of the day, you have to be able to make this distinction that when their words don't make sense, you have to trust their actions. So don't listen to words, listen to actions. We need to watch what they're actually saying in this case, because what they're saying is what's going to happen. They are telling you there that they expect rates to go higher. They're telling you that they expect the economy to slow down, but at the same time, they say we expect growth later. Listen, sometimes I feel like we're just holding this little baby, and coddling him and rock-a-bye baby. Like we're not children, but no government is ever going to say we're in a recession, because everyone will run for the hills. No matter what it is, you and me are reading stuff because we're trying to see what's going to happen in the future. But a huge percentage of the population don't care. They're like ostriches with their head in the sand, and they don't care. They don't want to hear about it. So that's cool. Everyone can do what they want, but I'm also going to buy your house at 50% off. So that's just how it goes, my friends. So those articles should be shaking you to your very soul, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. So what do I think? This is the same thing as I've been thinking last year. If we were going to summarize this, it hasn't changed. The rates and the minutes and everything else. US goes first. 6 weeks later, Canada comes. Then the US goes. 6 weeks later, Canada does it. Back and forth. Okay. And so if we know that when the meetings are, there might be an emergency meeting, but we know when the meetings are. We know that interest rates will keep going up, and they will keep going up until they hit their 2% target. Most likely, they will not even hit the 2% target. Most likely, the economy is not just going to be in, everyone thinks this is bad, whatever's happening, real estate market is down. No. This is not bad. What is bad is when you see stock markets down 50%. What is bad is when you see homes, forget the price drop, because Brampton is down 40%. King City is down 50. Mississauga is down 35. This hasn't even started yet when properties are foreclosing, people are losing their homes, because when that happens, that's a different story completely, right? Then when you have to really, really be careful. So that stuff is going to come. And when that happens, if history is any guide, every time we run into that situation, they reverse course and they start lowering rates at that time to prevent it from absolutely going into free fall. So that's what they've always done. I mean, and that's just not Canada, US. I'm talking about the history of thousands of years of history, going back to like Rome. They'll drop rates in a bad economy, but how far can they drop them when they're at 0.25? They can barely move them. So they were desperate to get the rates up so they have something to give. Really rough, eh? In fact, Canada actually went into some crazy situation. All of my paperwork, so I was fixing a lot of my rates last fall, like November and December. When I was fixing my rates, I was reading through some of the previous paperwork. In my mortgage paperwork, it said that though the national level rates might be negative, the lowest interest rate that you can pay legally on your mortgage is 0.0. So why would a law like that be put in place, right? Go through parliament, go through the central bank, go through all the rules, all the banks, all the policies to write that? Don't expect to be paid to have a mortgage, right? That's what they're saying. You cannot get less than 0.0. But all you guys who follow me know about negative yielding rates and how to find out how much I'm getting paid to borrow. You take real inflation, not stated inflation, minus your mortgage rate, and then you get the negative yielding rates. Today, I'm making about 11% I'm getting paid 11% just to borrow. Nice, right? So it's always about smart money mechanics and learning, financial education. Always be learning. We try and read one book a week. That's what we do. All right, you guys. So I'm always here for your health, wealth, and happiness. As you know, I love you guys. If you know one person that this could help, just try to send it to one person. Please remember to like and subscribe to it if it gave you any value whatsoever. I'll see you on the next video.